You begin to wonder if these people are not a type of infection, a virus whose purpose it is to destroy the health of the world itself. And as we see them now beginning to destroy the earth and now getting ready to move their destructive natures into the cosmos itself, they've already made it to the moon and are now preparing to infect the whole of the universe. How can you then, as a people, assume that the people who've done all of these kinds of things to us as a people can give us a vision of reality? How can we accept their description of reality as the one with which we are going to guide our own behavior? How can we believe a people whose very lives depends upon our continuing domination? And yet there are those among us who seem to want to believe this, who seem to want to push their children under the instructorship of these people, who seem to want their people to resemble these people in some fashion, who have the nerve to see these people as representing some kind of civilization. These people may represent a culture, but not a civilization, particularly if we're going to look at the word civil in the sense that it is normally used. We saw this thing here. In fact, last week I remarked, somebody had a conference here somewhere and they voted against, or they condemned, what do we call it? Terrorism. In fact, I saw Reagan, someone proposed that the meeting between Reagan and Gorbachev, music. You know, they're real jokes to watch. And in a way, you're looking at these guys and they're going to talk about terrorism. And yet, here are the world's two greatest terrorists sitting in conference. Two people in the world who have the world wondering, when is the end going to come? When is one of them going to go off and drop a bomb that is going to destroy the life of man and perhaps life on earth, period? The very fact that they are seen as powerful people, the very fact that the world sat in intense attention when they met, is symbolic of the fact that they are holding the world in a state of terror. And that we are frightened that they may, for some reason or other, let loose the great power that they have under their hands. And yet they have nerve enough to talk about terrorism as if it belongs to another people. And yet these are the people many of us want to claim that we want our children to be just like. These are the people we want our children to share a piece of the pie with. And yet these are the peoples whose very weapons are weapons of death. These are the people who represent death in the world.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. And definitely shouts out to everybody who listening, who will listen. I definitely appreciate y'all for coming on here. Um, Look, I just wanted to come on here for a little bit because there's some stuff that I wanted to say, and of course I ain't going on that level, because I was gonna be like, yo, if you want to ask whatever you can, but I'm not even gonna do that, And you know me, I go too far all the time. So moving forward, that's what I'm saying. I'm back with this healthy stuff. What's going on, Raw? How you doing? Appreciate you for being in the building, Raw. Um, but yeah, I'm just gonna get right to it and talk about what we're gonna talk about today. All right, so let's go. All right, first, yeah, we're gonna start with this though. But this is, the importance of black doctors.
Height and weight and everything else is for a child of a certain age. It's not based on our standards. It's based on middle class white standards. But that's not the only thing. You know, this thing about when the child is supposed to walk, when the child is supposed to reach for things. You're fine. You know, like the thing that used to surprise me was the fact that black children do have motor ability much earlier than white. And so if you go by these scales, alone, it'll blow your mind.
Knowledge is power.
I heard when I was getting my teeth fixed, one of the dentists was telling one of the students, look now, if you see this, like her out there, in a white person, this discoloration, you start to look for a malignancy. But in a black person, that is normal. And you think about how many black people that have gone through a whole lot of surgery and everything because somebody saw this bluish discoloration inside their mouth. That's normal. So we got to be dealing with people that know they're normal. A lot of white students draw blood, by looking at the veins and, finding out where the veins are and talking in there, If you, on a lot of us, if you try to look and find a vein on us, you're going to be punching for days.
I have a certain comfort that I place in an old black woman because, in some way she reminds me of my grandmother. Or a brother that says, well, what's happening, brother? And I know that it's a certain relationship that we share and a certain kind of trust. And I think that this is the kind of thing that we got to realize that, that black people got to start taking care of black people because they understand black people better than anybody else.
They have.
And I mean, I think that is important to understand. I know like we in these situations, this is why you start with the basics. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to go to the doctor. I know I went with my dad, they couldn't find a vein like they was talking about, right? Because there's white nurses, white doctors, white everything, and we at their mercy. And then you have situations like this, right, where you got the black nurse or whatever.
A black nurse
All right, let's see here.
gets fired for exposing the abusive
All right, let's
outburst of a doctor. Here it is.
You on call right now?
You don't even know that.
You are the doctor on call. Does the nurse on 3 just call me and say,
Nurse on 3 and you get help by any breakdown of communication? No,
why are you screaming at me?
because you guys do not care.
Dr. Sadiq, there's a
He's
patient.
like, you don't care.
Shut up.
Are you
I never talk to such a...
Now, as a black nurse, you letting something that sound like Hispanic or something. I don't know what he was. You letting them talk to you like that while you at work. And I ain't saying like, oh, what you should or shouldn't do. But I'm saying what you shouldn't even have to even worry about in the first place. Nobody talking to you crazy like this. Because they can't do what they supposed to do.
I have enough of this.
Dr. Sadiq, I have a patient.
Would you just shut up?
Why are you telling me to shut up? It's
Because you
screaming at me. I'm not your child.
don't you have any sense?
I did not make a decision to admit him.
Who made the
Do you
decision?
not understand English? I came in at 11 at
Shut up, man. Listen to me.
No, you don't understand English because you're yelling at me about a patient. I don't decide who gets admitted. I came in at 11 at night.
So
This patient was already
who gave you
admitted.
the hand of... Was Carly the supervisor?
Yes. That patient was already ours. He
Disagreements.
And listen, the importance of black doctors, but it's important to protect the black doctors as well and to have your own institutions for things. And sometimes, right, you get a little too comfortable in the situation you in because we see now, like, what we wanted, what we vote for is comfort. It's not equality. We good on that. It's not freedom. That's too hard. It's comfort. You'll never get that either. But seems that's what we want. But at the end of the day, it does all come crashing down to where you got to realize we are all we got, aren't we? So let's play this. 'Cause that's why I was like, y'all can, but
How the hell did that happen? There's my friend, Blacks for Trump. I like that guy. I'm like, he follows me. He follows me. We love you. Your whole group has been so supportive over the years. I want to thank you. Everyone thinks I pay you a fortune. I don't know. I don't even know who the hell he is. I just like him.
everyone think I don't gotta pay these Negroes to be some cool, do some cool stuff. They don't. They do it for comfort. I ain't gotta pay them. Yo, what's going on, Jerome Davis?
Thank you very much. Thank all of the fellas. Thank them all.
All the Nick fellas. And then, of course, you remember that
We
one.
had an African-American guy who was a fan of mine. Great fan. Great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Oh, I love that girl.
Look at
I
my
love that hair. I want her hair. Can I buy your hair? I'll pay you millions. What were you going to tell? I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth.
All right. So anyway, speaking of that, because I guess I was like, yo, if you have any questions, that's fine. But apparently, right, in Chicago, so they got a plan for black students. I don't know what the plan is. See, we will have to see. But the point is, though, until we are in a position to where we be like, hey, look, we have no friends. We got to start building this curriculum based on that fact. I'm all for it. I hope that the whole department gets destroyed. That's the part that people is leaving out, because this Department of Indoctrination, they shouldn't be taking my tax money for it anyway. But anyway, so let's see what's going on with this.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube, and
Department of Education has opened an investigation into Chicago public schools. This comes after allegations that CPS has violated Title VI of the Civil Rights Act.
And WGN's Jenna Barnes is live downtown at CPS headquarters with this story. Jenna?
Ray and Micah, the Black Student Success Plan is intended to correct historic disinvestment and achievement gaps, but the U.S. Department of Education is investigating an allegation that it discriminates on the basis of race.
I fear.
So that hate crime, or that I'm sorry, that 13th, I'm sorry, the 14th, whatever racist law you got, the 1965, they use those laws against you more. Like everything that we fight for to be a part of this society, their country, and all of that, they literally use against you when you try to make it equal. That equality that you're trying to get, it'll never happen. Right, by trying to reason with them, like educating somebody else. There is no dialogue, there is no middle ground, there is no speech. Do you want to win? Do you want to eat or not? Or be in charge of what you eat? We can't sit there and be like, oh, look at what their companies do. We got to go to their jobs every day. We got to do this all the time. And but well, maybe we can put our needs to the side for a couple. No, we couldn't. We like 200 years late.
That the U.S. Department of Education is now being turned into an overtly white supremacist organization.
Oh yeah, because convert racism is cool. Apparently, many of us decided the smile on your face kind of stuff and stab you in the back is cool. You just can't really handle the blatant them showing you who they are blatantly.
Chicago Board of Education member and new chair of the Black Student Success Committee, Jitu Brown, speaking out against the U.S. Department of Education's investigation into Chicago Public Schools' Black Student Success Plan.
But we will not turn a blind eye to the historical disinvestment in the education of Black children in particular.
The plan began this spring to increase the number of Black teachers in CPS, close academic and opportunity gaps between Black students and their peers, and reduce disciplinary actions against Black students, who make up about.
So basically, when we left our schools, most of the because we lived out what happened to the teachers, right? Especially the Black men in these schools around young Black children, especially young Black boys, but young Black children, period. Right? And also the terrible schools that we go to. I went to Richmond Public Schools, I didn't learn anything until I got out of school. But we sitting here paying our tax money and all of this stuff for terrible resources where the books don't even have the current president. I hope they do now, but and I'll say like what Farrakhan was on the thing. He was like, "Yeah, if we start now trying to be equal, we will never catch up to them being in a society like this."
About a third of the CPS student population.
I would like to see them answer questions as to why are Black boys 6 times more likely to be expelled from schools than white boys.
Valerie Leonard helped draft the plan.
We're looking at the data and going where the data take us, and the data is taking us to a very, very dark place.
A legal challenge from the group Parents
Oh yeah, we talked about the school to prison pipeline on the last one.
Defending Education argues the plan is discriminatory. The group opposes diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and fights what it calls indoctrination in schools. Now, the U.S. Department of Education under President Trump is investigating whether the CPS plan violates Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. A Department of Education representative saying in a statement, Chicago Public Schools have a record of academic failure, leaving students from all backgrounds and races struggling and ill-prepared to meet the challenges and enjoy the rewards of contemporary American life. Rather than address its record honestly, CPS seeks to allocate additional resources to favored students on the basis of race.
Right, so pretty much they get all of the whites. But this is what we were sitting here talking about before when we was talking about CRT and what we learned. You have to create the curriculum. We do. I also include myself. We have to get to a point where it's unacceptable for anybody else to create our curriculum and for us to hesitate to have our children in their schools, because as we're going to continue to see, anything can happen, right? In fact, let's see. This is here in a Catholic school.
When your child hurts, you hurt at church.
Tonight, parents are calling on a Portland Catholic school to apologize for an alleged racist incident that happened at school. Hundreds of people have signed a petition demanding the school do just that. Thanks for joining us for KT News at 11. I'm Ray Gasway. Let's get right to it. KT's Thunby Verma is at the live desk for us. And Thunby, how did all this start?
So the parents, Kara Stoudemire and Mike Phillips, Phillips and Mike Phillips, say it started on March 31st. They say their son was called a racial slur and then expelled shortly after.
We received a call from our kids' school telling us that there had been a racial incident and that our son was heard and called the N-word.
The parents say they went to the principal.
And they was probably, and this is Portland, so it's probably First Rifleman, if he really there, probably got his kids in that school too. And this is one of those good old Catholic schools, right? But then you probably had to pay that tuition, have your child be the only one in there. Then they called the N-word and kicked out and expelled for being called that, and you are surprised. If anybody needs an education, especially in how race and racism works, is us. We need the education.
Teresa Rast. They wanted to ask questions about what policies are in place to address racism.
She yelled at us, "If you don't trust me, then why do you even have your son at this school?"
Then the parents say the principal called the police.
As an African American male, having the police called on you historically has so many different implications. So when you call the police on me, there's fear because of how it was weaponized to make sure that I knew who was in power.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that was wielded towards me.
K2 obtained the Portland Police Bureau dispatch notes. The report classifies the incident as a, quote, disturbance. The 911 dispatcher wrote in the notes, "In the office, parents hear yelling at the employees and refuses to leave." The family disputes this account. A spokesperson for PPB says it does not appear that anyone wanted to make a police report in the call, adding that the caller said officers were no longer needed after they arrived. We tried to bring all of this to the Archdiocese of Portland and to the Madeline School.
No one is available to take your call.
This was one of our attempts at reaching them. We're hearing that a student was called a racial slur, and then when the parents asked the principal questions about the school's policy on this kind of thing, the principal called the police on the parents. If this is true, what are you all doing to remedy the situation, and is the principal still working there? In the same week as the confrontation with the principal, the child's mother says she got heart-dropping news.
We got the expulsion letter.
And that's where his tears and the emotional distress comes from, because I have to manage a child every day who is punished for just doing the right thing.
See, and you got to do more than manage him. You got to educate him on how to be a black man, to know what is happening, not to get away from what you thought was the good ones and up in Portland in this good old Catholic school. And they're shocked that they got in trouble for responding to what they do to you. But that's the thing. That's what is illegal. Your reaction to what they do to you is what is illegal. See, had they have gone to, and like they had banned the education thing and they had to go to a black school where they had a black man, hey, I'm black and I'm proud. They might come to me, but they can't break me for sure. I hope they reverse all of that.
Right now, a petition that demands the school apologize for how the family has been treated has reached almost 2,500 signatures. I spoke with a parent who proudly signed the petition, and while he sent us a statement, reading in part, we, along with the broader Madeline community, are heartbroken.
All right. So, check this out, just for y'all to be aware. Now, this one is the update, but this neighbor posted a video. All right, posted a video threatening this little girl, threatening to shoot her.
A 9-year-old girl is demanding criminal charges against a Florida homeowner who posted a doorbell camera photo of her daughter on social media and threatened to shoot her. We reported this when it happened. The homeowner, Mr. Tyler Chambers, faced an intense wave of backlash online for posting the image on a community group page with the caption, quote, "You're lucky we weren't home to shoot your dumb." Okay, that's what he decided to write. Now, he did delete it later, but by the time he deleted it, enough of the other homeowners had taken offense and already screenshot what he wrote. Good for them, because they're not like him. Miss Beyond Envy spoke to Atlanta Black Star about her have launched that Sincere's face her door about how he may react to the visit. But he and his car wash, however, the company denies he works there. In a statement they posted, post circulating on social media, incorrectly claim that an individual who posted violent, threatening language is employed by Mr. Car Wash. This is not accurate. This person is not employed at Mr. Car Wash. Their actions are reprehensible and in conflict with our values. Envy said she was home with her 1-year-old child and her mother wasn't aware that the girls had left the home to sell candy. Now, if you remember from the original reporting.
All right. So, listen, this is it right here. Now, this 9-year-old girl is walking around this neighborhood and she has no idea what's going on. And apparently her mom doesn't know that they're going around the neighborhood selling candy to somebody. Right? So, we're going to keep going. I
The
ain't gonna say nothing.
homeowner, the white male, took a screenshot of this child selling candy. Basically fantasized about shooting her. And then when approached about it online, he makes up a lie, an extreme and creative lie that said, they were there to set me up for a robbery. There's more. Doorbell camera footage from Chambers' home shows the child approaching his front door with a bag of items, knocking on the door a few times and peeking inside to see if anybody was home. At one point, she's heard directing some profanities at the homeowner. She said, "I would just like to let you know you are a blank blank." And I told the officers that she was completely out of line, Miss Envy said. Quote, "She was completely wrong for that, and I handled that from going online and posting."
All right, so I think I skipped over and the part is though, now this sister went over there. Now she said she was strapped up. All right, here we go. All right, I'll play this part.
As a concealed weapons license holder media. She went to Chambers' home on April 15th to confront him directly. As a concealed weapons license holder, she said she was carrying a gun.
Now, I get it, you know what I'm saying? And this is what we supposed to protect our children, right? But we also have to remember that sister that got shot through the door as well, right? So you got to be aware. And so at least the sister had her candy bar with the peanuts and all of that, just in case. But you have to be prepared for whatever if you're just going to do that. And this is the vital problem and the point of why we have to have backup, like unity, like have each other's back. Because this sister should not be going over there alone by herself in the first place, even if she do have it.
The gun in her purse for self-defense purposes because Chambers' post made her wary about how he may react to the visit. But he and his family were not home. After deciding to call the officers and report Chambers and the viral post, Miss Envy said authorities told her that Chambers and his family fled their home after people started doxing his address and place of work.
All right, so you see, it's just being careful, man. Like educating your children, because it's men, women, children, elderly, it does not matter to them. And we have to start being aware of our surroundings and understanding that, look, this is why this the best thing that could have happened to you is to wake you up, because then you have situations like this, I'll try to find a good point.
I'm hitting this 10-year-old black child. No,
So
he just kept on going like nothing happened.
let's see here. I'm trying to find the right one, but I don't know what the right one is. So, all right, I'll just play this one.
From hitting this 10-year-old black child. Nothing. Just went right through him, they say, yo. Went right through him. Okay? And this man, after he did this, he went home, sitting around, chilling, like nothing happened after he did this to this black child.
So they're like, this is his property. Now, he saw a black boy running on the road, ran him over, kept going, went home, right? And killed this little boy.
Now, this dude, Cody Rollinson, he was actually arrested, but his arrest was not related to any charge that he hit this 10-year-old black child. He was driving with a suspended license, and they say that there was possibly some marijuana in the car. I'm not sure about the laws in Mississippi as far as marijuana is concerned, but condolences to the family of this 10-year-old child.
See, they don't say why the children, do they? They don't say why the babies. They don't ask no questions.
Jordan Hill. This is terrible, man. This is terrible. And this guy right now was sitting at home, chilling, after doing something like this. Mississippi, terrible place. Absolutely disgusting. And Mississippi has always been, okay?
As detectives wait on Emmett County's crime lab to get back with the results. And the FBI is also working with who fled the scene after the crash.
Deadly hit and run involving a 10-year-old earlier this month. 3 on Your Side's Teddy Reedy with the latest.
On April 6, 10-year-old Jordan Hill was killed while he was riding an ATV. The driver who hit him was identified as Cody Rollinson, who fled the scene after the crash. According to Emmett County detectives, 911 calls started coming just before noon on Sunday, April 6th.
Now, this fool is out on $41,000 bond after hitting and running this 10-year-old little boy and fleeing the scene.
When emergency crews arrived on scene, they found Jordan Hill dead at the crash site and Cody Rollins' pickup truck nowhere in sight. Later that day, police arrested Rollinson and charged him with possession of marijuana and felony leaving the scene of an accident. Rollinson was released on a $41,000 bond for both charges. We spoke with the family's spokesperson who says they want justice served to the fullest.
We are heartbroken, enraged, and demanding answers after the senseless murder of a 10-year-old Jordan Hill in Liberty, Mississippi. Jordan was simply riding his ATV on the side of the road, not in the road, not causing harm, just being a child. A racist white man took it upon himself to take Jordan's life. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not an accident. This was a hate crime.
More charges could be on the way for Rollinson as detectives wait on Emmett County.
Now, you see this, and this white boy is sitting there at home. What do you think is supposed to happen? He's seen this little boy just riding on the side of the road. Now, they can tell you what's supposed to happen when you defend yourself. Now, what is supposed to happen in situations like this? But now we got to make excuses and do everything the right way. I'm glad he at least had something over his face when he's saying this. But this white boy just ran him over and went back to go get the side mirror and then left again. And they arrested him, but he home on $40-something thousand bail. Probably like $400.
County's crime lab to get back with the results. And the FBI is also working this case. They are looking into potential other cases where Rollinson left the scene of an accident. The public visitation for Jordan Hill will be Friday, April 18th, starting at 6 p.m. at the National Guard Armory in Gloucester. The family asked those attending to wear blue in honor of Hill. Teddy Reedy, 3 on Your Side.
And look, on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable.
So this is their whole family. And if anybody's addressing all of that, should be out there. It should be this white boy hair. And then he got the nerve to have this cross on. Probably went to a Catholic school and sitting there with all these crosses. I'm surprised they ain't bust out in flames standing right there.
Accountable, because when black people commit crimes, they have no problem holding us accountable. Matter of fact, Fox News would get up there and they'll give a whole lecture and break down every crime that black people commit, make it make sense. And you guys step back and use your common sense. If I was to run over a little Caucasian boy, my mugshot will be everywhere. It'll be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. It'll be on Snapchat. It'll be on every social media account. But when I tried to look up this dog-smelling boy's mugshot, I found nothing.
You see this? So apparently him and this fat Neanderthal girl got one too. They didn't ask why the babies. That's all I'm saying. They didn't ask. I wonder who needs the education here. Maybe it should be just so you can wake up and understand what's happening. But here you go. Here's his picture. Here we go.
I found nothing. This baby, Jordan Hill, was only 10 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. So you think I'm going to let this slide? Hell no. So let me get this right. You telling me that Kyron Lacey was crucified by the whole world for something he didn't even do. But this pig-skin, dog-smelling, water boy, mama said, racist Caucasian, murdered a black boy and fled the scene. No media coverage, no outrage. Make it make sense. But I told y'all yesterday, when racist Caucasian murder our people, they can sleep well at night. They don't worry. But when those tables turn, they can't take it. They can't handle it. But that's why I have no sympathy when I make these videos. Now you see why. 10-year-old Jordan.
I hope y'all understand why I say no good ones. None of them. No sympathy. You can't reason with a psychopath.
Jordan Hill was murdered on April 6, 2025. Today is April 18, 2025. And mind you, no major media outlets talked about this story. None of them covered this story. So when I did my research, man, the cover up is crazy. But before I go all the way in on this article, check this out. Last October, I covered the story about a truck driver named Tremaine White. He's also from Amite County, and he was going to visit his mother. And matter of fact, run the tape.
Investigation is underway after a man was discovered dead while at the Amite County Jail.
As 12 News' Tia McKenzie reports, it's a story that raises concerns about excessive force and police misconduct.
One family is in search for answers. However, they're left with more questions than anything. The family of 41-year-old Tremaine White says he was found dead earlier this month while in custody of Amite County law enforcement. Bobby DiCello is the family's attorney.
We are developing information that we believe is very concerning. I can't make further comment beyond that.
The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation released a statement saying, quote, MBI is investigating this incident that occurred at Amite County Jail. Agents are continuing to investigate and gather evidence and information. This remains an open and ongoing investigation.
How does a man tossing a bag out of his car by a tire store end up dead in jail? That's a stretch.
DiCello says there is a cultural and social problem in America and there needs to be transparency.
Why not transparency? Why not an allowance of seeing body cam? Is there body cam? If not, what happened inside the jail? There's got to be video of that. There's got to be video of the booking. Why not provide it?
We reached out to the Amite County Sheriff's Office. However, we have not heard back. Reported in Amite.
And we know why.
That unalive Mr. Tremaine White, they deserve the same treatment, the same Mississippi called WJTV. It was published April 17, 2025, yesterday. Man charged after Mississippi 10-year-old unalived in ATV crash. Amite County, Mississippi Amite County deputies announced a man was arrested in connection to an ATV crash that unalived a 10-year-old boy. Investigator Danny Moe with the Amite County Sheriff's Office said the incident occurred on Old 24 Compromise Road between 11:30 a.m. and 11:45 a.m. on April 6, 2025. Compromise road, what the hell? And notice, I just read all that stuff. All they said, a man was arrested. No, dumbass, we need names and mugshots. But guess what? The disrespect continues. Check this out. Investigators said the suspect, Cody Rollinson, was arrested the day of the incident. He was charged with possession of marijuana in a motor vehicle and felony leaving the scene of an accident. Rollinson made his initial appearance in court last week and his bond was set at $41,000. He is currently out on bond. And guess what? The reason why I couldn't find a mugshot is because they lied. The day of the incident, they didn't even arrest him. And then in the news article or on the news station, these news outlets, they didn't even mention that his driver license was suspended. And this is not the first time he hit someone and left the scene. Make it make sense. And that's why I always say our platforms are so important in doing our own research. And that's what I did. I went to old reliable Facebook, and lo and behold, not only didn't they arrest him when the incident happened, but right after he tried to sell his truck for $6,500, the same truck he murdered Jordan Hill in. The game is cold. And look, that's why I'm always saying never trust these news outlets, especially in the South. They will protect their own. They all on the same team. These articles had no clear images of this dude, and it all was on purpose.
Y'all need to, in a strict, not saying him, but I'm saying us, we need a strict lesson in how propaganda works. That's how it works. You know what I'm saying? And this brother is absolutely right. And I'm glad he did the research. You can never trust what they say. That's why I show so many news things so you can see how propaganda works. These platforms is propaganda platforms. You use it to empower yourself. Everything is in the thing of war. You put stuff on here, you keep stuff off of here. But this is also another aspect of it. You go all is a propaganda thing. Right? You control the people's minds and their thoughts and their then you start controlling their actions and their mentalities, because you keep having the same thought over and over. After a while, it becomes a part of your personality. So you start thinking about justice, empowerment, freedom, right? Because what will we get if we start talking about equality about this? What would be equal then? Because you would be like, why the children? Why the children? But they don't ask that question, do they?
Actually, you have to do the research yourself. Actually, you have to connect the dots yourself. But ain't it ironic? Ain't it funny how these racist cowards, when shit gets real, they delete their social media accounts like we can't find their house. This dude had Confederate flags leading up into his house. So we already know where it is, partner. Now look at this family. This family will never be the same again. And I know a lot of us don't celebrate Easter like that. But it's still a time for family members to get together. It's still a time for family members to get together, laugh, play games, just be around each other. Jordan Hill will never be able to experience that again. So in my opinion, Cody Rollinson, aka Waterboy, he shouldn't be able to spend Easter with his family either. And additional charges are pending. Several agencies, including the Mississippi Highway Patrol, are assisting with the investigation. But that's why I'm always saying we need more Black content creators for the people. We can no longer depend on these news outlets.
Longer. And speaking of news outlets, and maybe we'll touch on this more, but this more about these young brothers who was found in these mountains, right down in Georgia. Well, this is the news coverage of it, right?
Family members say store surveillance videos left them with more questions than answers nearly 2 months after their loved one, twin teenagers, were found dead in the North Georgia mountains.
Authorities ruled Kadir and Nazir Lewis deaths a murder-suicide. Both teens had suffered gunshot wounds, but their loved ones suspect foul play. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is live at a gas station in Lawrenceville. Deidre, you spoke with the teen's family this afternoon. What did they have to say?
That's right. Family members telling me that both teens were in college and were doing well. Now, they did share that the teen's mother, GBI, showed her video of the teens here at this gas station the night before their bodies were found, some 90 miles away. Now, the teens are seen entering and exiting the store. Nothing seemed amiss.
It feels like torture every single day of not knowing what happened to them.
The teens' aunts and other family members are desperate for answers. Nearly 2 months after the bodies of brothers Kadir and Nazir Lewis were discovered in the North Georgia mountains, some 90 miles from home.
Someone has to know something.
Samira and Sabria Bronner say GBI investigators showed the teen's mother surveillance video, which showed the 19-year-old twins at this Shell gas station on Hurricane Shoals Road in Lawrenceville at around 10 the night of March 7th. A hiker discovered their bodies at around 11 the next morning atop Bell Mountain in Towns County, about 2 hours from their Gwinnett County residence. Authorities said a preliminary investigation revealed the deaths were a murder-suicide. Grieving family members suspect the teens were victims of foul play.
I know that something happened to them. I know that they were murdered.
Loved ones say the surveillance video showed the teens going in and out of the convenience store. Nothing seemed to miss.
To know that they was alive, I'm like, what happened from right there? How did it end up out in the mountains?
The teens' aunts tell Fox 5 they were scheduled to fly to Boston the morning of March 7th to visit friends, but missed their flight. Their airline tickets were still in their wallets when their bodies were discovered the next day. Loved ones say the teens had never visited the area where they were found and urge anyone with information in the case to come forward.
We need closure. We want to know what happened to them. And whoever did that to them, you know, they need to be prosecuted.
Now look, a part of it too, why I used to even do most of it, why the videos I was creating before, we need to know most of our stories and never forget any of our people who go down. We have to stop taking casualties. No more casualties. Enough is enough. I know we tired of seeing us crying on press conferences and speeches and protests and all of this stuff. We're tired of seeing the crying. We would rather be angry and get you out of jail than crying, having to bury you. And we should remember all of these people, all of these stories, all of these names. And shouts out to like people like Ida B. Wells who documented stories when it was hard to do. Actually, it's easy for me to just be on the internet and just see, you know, but she would have had to get on a train and go to actually investigate and do all of that stuff, you know. And it's easy for me to just be able, but we should never forget any of our people's names, as many as we can forget, because too many of us have been forgotten and never heard of and never known. We have to understand the truth, you know. But speaking of that, it's coming to a point where we have to make sure that we can get the story and speak for ourselves after the fact. If they want to try you, I don't care. Come home and we'll figure it out from there. Right? So it doesn't matter what they got a problem with, because apparently they got a problem with this. So let me play this, right? I hope I got the right one. Probably not, though.
Claiming that this was a one-to-one fisticuff between Hunter, okay, and Carmelo. I'm going to say between one of the brothers because I keep getting the names mixed up. I believe it was Hunter, and I do want to say rest in peace to him. My condolences to his father, his family. Nobody deserves to lose.
Like Khalid Muhammad say, I'm not worrying at all about them. I'm concerned about my people and I'm concerned about this young 10-year-old boy on the side of the road. To be worried about some bully thug who could have had guns or bow and arrows or who knows what, right? Who had the numbers and all of that stuff. I'm glad this brother came home.
The child, black, white, red, yellow, or brown, nobody deserves to lose a child, not at that age, regardless of who fault it was. I'm sorry they lost their child. Condolences to the family. So R.I.P. Hunter comes and engages Carmelo with his brother Austin.
Yes, I don't know why
right to tell Carmelo to move. If that kid would have...
We're not celebrating the death of a child. We are acknowledging Carmelo's right to defend himself. And that's the problem. The problem is that we are acknowledging his right to defend himself against bodily harm. You cannot tell somebody how to respond to your threats and your disrespect. No, you can't. If you threaten to do something to me, and if I feel like you really will do something to me, I'm going to protect myself.
There you go.
Austin is around.
Why every time Austin opened up his why every time Hunter opened up his damn mouth, it's another story? Why is the father?
Austin is around Hunter's size as well. So what you have in this situation, Art, is a 160-pound skinny black boy minding his business. And here comes two white boys who decide that they're going to remove this black boy from their tent with force. So you got to ask yourself something, Art. If I'm a 160-pound black boy, two white boys in Texas, both of whom are 60 to 70 pounds heavier than me, they come to accost me physically, knock my phone out my hand, try to...
I definitely tried to cost.
Grab my bag, try to throw me out. The media is making you think it's only one.
Yes, this whole situation has actually only thing when types of
standard that hurts everyone.
All right. So now check this out, right?
Apparently a 10-year friend of Carmelo Anthony's. It's also, thank you so much, everyone who's Mother's. So fundraising executive. So now we know.
See,
Don't miss that. Let's get into this. Carmelo Anthony family plans $500,000 for donations after a Texas track incident revealed by fundraising executive. So now we know, apparently the fundraising executive has revealed now.
Yo, he got the GoFundMe on standby, don't he? He had it already ready to go.
Also begging for even more money. So they had quietly raised this to $550,000. Then they, I'm sorry, 600. It was at 500. Then they quietly raised it to 550 after reaching their goal, and they didn't even hit 550. And now they've raised it to 600,000. They've offered zero updates.
So you can give to this brother's self-defense fund and our self-defense fund, period.
To the thousands of people that have donated. Here's another moron giving $100, donating another $100 just to piss off the white supremacists. Here's $500 from an anonymous giver. It's very curious to me. A lot of these, look, I don't have any problem with black folks at all.
Oh no, of course not.
And it just seems like the people who are donating to this do. So let's actually start with this interview, which was done by apparently somebody named Mr. New bit of information. Allegedly, the Metcalf boys took Carmelo Anthony's backpack and chucked it. That has not been confirmed literally anywhere, but it is.
So I want you to see this, right? Because they're talking about some raising money. You want to see what these fools be raising money for? What kind of nonsense they raise money for? Look at this. There's a white girl here. Oh. All right, so yeah, this is what she did.
All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's you dumb.
Nobody digging through your
A little kid just did, you dumbass.
Did you call him a child? Did you call the child the word?
Yeah, spoiler alert. While I censor it, she uses that word in this video multiple
They sure don't be like wild children, do they? They have no problem coming at our children, huh?
times. Rochester, Minnesota is where this happened. There's a man, we'll just say that he is not white, right? He is at the park with his children. He sees this woman start berating a little black boy, calling him the N-word, and he confronts her.
You call him a child? Did you call the child the word? It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say.
You don't go digging through people's
Nobody digging into your
A little kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a the little child?
What if he acts like one? He's gonna.
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old and the N-word.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're gonna call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a
Huh. Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
God help us.
See, and this is the Neanderthal white bitch, the white bitches, you know what I'm saying? You see how she has no problem coming out, sitting there attacking a little 5-year-old boy. Right? They have no problem killing a little 10-year-old boy. They have no problem attacking our children. Yo, it's a sickness. And now, you know, they're so mad about it, you know. Now check this out. What they raising their money for.
For being who she is. And some people come here to tell me to stop talking about racism, that racism has ended.
And a racist calls a black boy with autism the word several times.
Oh, so yeah, this little 5-year-old black boy has autism, and I don't know where his parents are. I hope that Mexican wasn't his guardian. But here you have it, you know. He had autism, and she talking about he's going to something, and if he act like it, I'm gonna call him that. Yeah. Why the babies?
Times. And you guys raised $250,000 for her? I am beyond disturbed. I am beyond, I can't even fathom. Did you see the comments? White people should not be forced to live among monkeys. Black fragility is getting pretty tiring. Sometimes to be accurate, you have to use unpleasant speech.
Now, these is the ones who talking about, oh, you gonna use a GoFundMe, and so worried about what that this white boy got this brother Carmelo go send me thing on deck. All right, but you see, they didn't raise $200,000 quick just for a white girl call. See, they gonna start trying to like get paid off of this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, all I'm saying is Carmelo Anthony got his self-defense fund. I would rather be on that side than to be on the other side. You feel me? Where I'm sitting there crying about my little 7-year-old kid or child, sorry.
White advocacy. I want to say that I'm shocked, but I'm not shocked. I'm angry.
Good.
I'm angry because are you kidding me? Disregard everything that little black boy and the people around him had to deal with. But let's protect this white woman. Let's protect the racist. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
This woman named Shilu continues to call a black autistic
egregious behavior. Shiloh has now created an account similar to GoFundMe where she is asking for help to protect her family. She's asking for monetary donations because her and her family are in fear of their lives because of the harassment that she is getting for the comments that she made. And I want to show y'all this page where she's taking donations so that y'all can see how much she's asking for, how much she's already raised. And the bigger piece, we can read some of these comments from these anonymous donors so that we can get a full picture For those that are in doubt about the America that we live in, let's take a look at some of these comments on this donation page. So this here is the donation page that Shiloh Hendricks has set up, that she has set up for her and her family. The original asking amount for this page was $150,000. It has been up to $250,000, and she's already raised shy of $270,000. But the point of us going to this gifts.
What does she do with the money? Where's the money? Did they get a new house or something? All right. Oh, it only worked one way, I guess.
Send Go donation pages. I want y'all to see some of these comments.
Some of these comments on this post here. Protecting the future of white children. You did what every other human being would do for their child. Protect them. You did nothing wrong. Thank you for helping stop white guilt. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message. Americans shouldn't have to live in fear of scumbag foreigners. We must secure the existence of our people and the future of white children. It's fair to say we've had enough. Decades of propaganda have failed to hide the obvious truth. Thank you for being a strong mother and speaking up, as opposed to the weak man whose son was murdered by Carmelo Anthony. Like, what the hell does this have to do with Carmelo Anthony? Hope this helps to avoid a trash culture. Then here we go, another reference to Carmelo Anthony in this long-winded statement. But these are all anonymous donors. Of course, they're anonymous. And they've not only helped her weeks ago, she's far exceeded the goal, but it really shows for all of you guys that are in doubt about the America that we live in. A 5-year-old taking, what she says, stole her 18-month-old toy, that you can call this child an N-word and you double down on it. You have no problem with saying it over and over and over again in that video. Yeah. You guys go to the page. Let's see if we can report it, if we can get this page taken.
All right, so while you debate and all of that stuff, and speaking of that, now the interview on the account of the where you raising the money at, and this is another aspect where you might need to start looking at, or I mean maybe we need to start looking at these platforms where we donate money that we're making rich with our money, because we can maybe come up with platforms to raise our money, or even come together in groups to make an app where we can raise money for that kind of stuff, for people like that need it. You know what I'm saying? Or just do it as a community, because we got to start looking at which companies were making rich with all of this stuff. So the white boy is getting so much heat, he got to come out and be like, no, I'm not no N-word lover. I'm not no nigga lover. Trust me. I'm going to get a coon to talk to you just because he's black. But yeah, we know that this is one of the good ones, guys.
I don't remember anything other than that. Was there something different?
Yeah, and have this conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
No. I didn't say anything like that. All I said was, hey, happy to jump on and have a conversation. So
hold for a second. Hand me that laptop, bot. Go to my.
Other than that, was there something different?
Matter.
Yes, it doesn't matter. That guy's just been kind of trolling at me, and I've responded many times to his posts, and he's just not interested in listening to what I have to say. So he can continue to troll. So that response was directed towards him. But I do think that there were some, I don't say not mistruths on your part that I saw. I didn't see anything, but I did see that you had Sarah Fields on recently, and lovely lady. She's
person in my view, and she's going at fences.
Yeah, and they didn't actually change it, so that's a misconception too. It was open from the very beginning that it was going to be used for the family's needs in throughout the duration. They did we
the kind of fundraising that Carmelo Anthony's family is doing in his defense. Give Sin Go is allowing it. What's the difference? What's you all's position on someone charged with murder using your platform to not just raise money for the defense? They've now changed it to, living expenses.
So they can raise money, for calling a 5-year-old child the N-word or whatever, an autistic child. But they're so bothered by your economic, because that's the thing that Ida B. Wells put out there. It's an economic war. It's not necessarily the white bitches. The white bitches have been a weakness now. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, but the white bitches be lying. But it's an economic warfare. It's to destroy you, to keep you dependent on an entire system designed to run off your blood. And by us sacrificing anything for anybody else other than ourselves is going to keep this machine going and going and going. You understand? Because they cannot see us in a position. I don't care who they are. The most liberal, the most MAGA, whatever. It will bother them to see a black thing for black people economically creating everything that we need for our community, so we are no longer dependent on this system. So they cannot have you unifying, putting your black dollars together. Now, can they? So they gotta put this white boy out here like, all right, now you being a Benedict or whatever his name was, a white coon.
They didn't actually change it, so that's a misconception too. It was open from the very beginning that it was going to be used for the family's needs and throughout the duration. We had conversation with them to just lay that out a little bit fuller, so they updated the campaign, but it was open from the very beginning what the original description allowed for. And we sent out an email to everyone that gave to let them know that if they felt at all that something was miscommunicated with them, that they could ask for a refund. Nobody, or very few people did. Out of the 14,000 people that have donated, I think 10 people said they wanted a refund. So, but our position, and it really stemmed early 5 years ago, when a kid, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Kyle Rittenhouse, found himself in the position that he found himself in. And we were just a small little crowdfunding platform, had hosted a couple campaigns that might have been on the edge of things that, rubbed people the wrong way. But largely a small platform catered mainly to missions trips for people going from a marketing perspective. We were open to pretty much anything. And when his campaign was kicked off of GoFundMe and every other platform, all the other crowdfunding platforms, Facebook shut them down. We landed on our platform. And to be frank,
we're talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. Let's just for clarity. Yes, Kyle Rittenhouse got kicked off every place else. You guys were open to it.
Yeah, it landed on our platform. Again, we're a platform. We're not advertising for these. We're a platform. And it landed on our platform. And it wasn't Kyle Rittenhouse that actually even set up the campaign. It was someone completely disinterested in the sense of no relation, no connection to Kyle. He just saw and said, "Hey, I know this platform, Give Sin Go. Let me see if it
besides whiteness."
And we prayed about it. We saw massive amounts of hate from the left at that moment, massive amounts of misinformation being posted throughout the media about the situation. And we said, well, you know what? There's a presumption that we give people. And a rancher out in Arizona who shot what was thought to be some illegal immigrants coming across his property and killed.
So basically, he look, y'all don't judge me. I support white supremacy. I'm support what they call white supremacists. I support the white movement. I'm not an N-word lover. I just want to make money.
It's like Kyle Rittenhouse's campaign was created by somebody that was not connected, not related to Kyle, just somebody looking to do good by Kyle. Carmelo's family didn't create this campaign. Somebody else that was unrelated, uninterested in that respect, created the campaign wanting to do something good for the family, knowing that as a family in a very difficult, trying time, they would probably need some support. And And so that's how the campaign was started, and began to raise a bit of money. After it had raised a decent amount of money, the Anthony family was connected to the campaign to receive the funds, and they asked that the person that had started the campaign be removed from any ownership of the campaign as a campaign creator. We talked that through amongst the campaign creator and the family, worked out. They said, okay, everything's fine. So the Anthony family took over the Christian, went to school to be a pastor, loved people, understand that Jesus died for the worst of worst, including myself. That's
Well, I ain't gonna say that. I was about to say Jesus is not dead, but never mind.
that pull race out of it. The right, as being principled people, ought to be saying, and this is what I didn't see, is that, you know what, this is a horrible situation. The facts don't look good for Carmelo, according to what we've seen so far, the police report that's come out. Facts don't look good so far. Of course, there could be information that we don't know yet, but that's to be seen by
So they haven't watched anything, pretty much, is what
but
he's saying.
he ought to be given the same affording that was afforded to Daniel Penny and Kyle Rittenhouse, which was they were being accused of murder. They were, even though it.
See, now you see how he's trying to tightrope it. Like, look, I'm just like y'all. I don't like these N words either. I'm with you. I'm with you. But I mean, like Daniel Penny, Kyle Rittenhouse. I mean, y'all are being hypocrites. Like, it's pretty blatant hypocrisy here. I'm only trying to make money. You know, we crackers here. So at the end of the day, we all like selfish. It's like we're just about money, and we not about give a damn about anything really. But listen, I'm on your side. I'm not no N-word lover, right? I'm here on this Coon platform to walk on this tightrope to explain that.
Looked much better in their circumstances, in the sense of maybe more of a self-defense, like much clearer self-defense from the feds.
Yeah. The guy who was
Yellow.
walked up on a guy who was asking for money on the train and choked him from behind with other people holding there, choked him until the death, has a better claim than 3 people running up on a young man at a track event where he's supposed to be at and they're not supposed to be at, with a bunch of pictures of with them with guns and hunting and a deadbeat daddy and a broken home and all of that stuff, and threatening him, and he's warning him, but apparently he doesn't have the complexion for the protection. So
Ought to be afforded that same presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law, not public opinion, because as you begin to erode the principle for anyone, you begin to erode it for everyone. And that's a difficult thing to uphold, because these aren't fun campaigns. These aren't like happy-go-lucky campaigns, somebody's adopting a child like we do have. I mean, we're in over 80 countries, campaigns around the world. So, I think the big things that I wanted to somewhat push on were the Anthony family they didn't set up the campaign. It wasn't like they were the ones going out after it. Now they may have tried to set up a GoFundMe. I don't know we're not going to cancel people. And now it's been amazing to me how many people have been like canceled.
I think you've made a very compelling argument that, hey, we need to be consistent in our principles and values. If Kyle Rittenhouse,
Negro, you can't say that,
are allowed to raise money in their defense,
Negro,
took bullets for that. Gibson go on the left. People were very upset. How dare you?
Now, don't forget you a Negro boy. All right, now you better be careful.
We, on the other side of that, I hate to call myself a conservative. People call me a conservative. I'm a Christian, but we need to be consistent in our values, and we shouldn't be just like them. And so I get your position.
I'm not black, I'm a
I
Christian.
get why you wanted to come on and be publicly say, hey guys, remember,
I ain't no Negro lover.
For Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny. Don't turn on me now just because the Carmelo Anthony family, you don't
Negro lover.
Be consistent in our values. I completely understand your position. I'm glad you reached out.
Let's see. I don't think it's a hard job. Let's see. All right. So he must have won him over a little bit. Oh no, funny how he doesn't mention the Metcalf family. So not good enough. When you confess to defending yourself, the guest is just backpedaling. Donate to the killer to say something opposite. He seems like a weasel. Um, Whitlock was too soft. Of course, this Negro was too soft. Fundraising platforms should not allow any discrimination or racist comments to be posted or anything disrespectful. No, well, apparently they do. Yeah, you're not a black dude, so. But yeah, you see the mentality. But this is where you also are putting your money at too, though. So we also have to be careful about where we are putting our dollars and who we are making money for, right? Because as you see, he's like, yo, the next, like, listen, I got you. The next time y'all do something to a Negro, I got you. I got you. I'm just trying to make a little money on the Negroes too. So, anyway. So let's talk about this.
Have the same, he is afforded the same rights as everyone else by
So,
this 10-year friend of
so allegedly, white friend of the Carmelo Anthony family got something to say about it now.
Anthony, I'm sorry, of Andrew Anthony Carmelo's dad.
And that's a no-go. But when I got my girlfriend's daughter a car here, Andrew, the father, did the deal.
So it sounds like this guy, I think his name is Mark Anthony as well. Like too many Anthonys, too many A's and Anthonys. We got Andrew Anthony, we got Carmelo Anthony. Now this guy is Mark Anthony. Lord have mercy. He supposedly how he knows Andrew, the father, is he bought his daughter a car. Remember, Andrew Anthony, Carmelo's father, is he works at a car dealership. I think he's now a finance person, but maybe he started out as a car salesman. But that is how this man is saying that they met.
If anybody wants to ask me anything, I mean, I'm always good.
Why don't we do this? Go ahead and because I know one of your main things is the misinformation that has been going on.
There's a lot of it. I heard some of that this morning at breakfast.
So
yeah.
I think I'd like for you to just go ahead.
So this guy, I guess he interviewed him. I don't know who he is, but I will leave a link to the full video. It's like a 2-hour video, which we're not going to watch the whole thing, but there are some key points that I think are very important. And this is not who you want speaking. Again, the Anthonys have chosen or allowing someone who should not be saying anything to speak on their behalf or speak about the case. Like, they need to do some damage control, because this guy is not the person that you want speaking for you. The reason why we're going to play this is because what he says, if true, let's remember that, if true, is very revealing.
Go ahead and tell us what you can, and then go from there. How's that sound?
Well, yeah, that sounds good. I mean, I'll go straight down to the pond, honey. So, he was sitting under another school's tent. There was several other students from other schools sitting underneath, I guess, another, not their necessarily home tent, but, we saw, and coming from, I guess I can say that without incriminating. I mean, it was said that the tent was moved from the stairs, because they had them set up in the stairs, not like in the end zones, or I guess you could say with.
Now, I don't know if this sister, what side of the fence she's standing on, how she's been educated or not, because she do give me some like red flag vibes here, but still, the point is, you got this white boy speaking for you, if this is true.
They normally put them. So the two tents were together. Carmelo was under one of them, and he was on his phone, and he was approached. And as the first statement said, he says, "My brother always has my back." So the question and the gap, I think, and I don't know, I call it a gap or a crack in the wall, crack in the floor, is that needs to be filled. Is, if I don't know you and you're sitting there, and of course other people, it's raining, have a little compassion for humans who want to be out of the rain.
I'm guessing this is the account that, and compassion for, somebody getting out of the play in the rain, you running
yeah, so
away,
she's like a coon girl.
they're kids. We have to look at the victim for the trash to other boys. You as staff, why are you
you would heard a dog screaming.
Like sitting one.
So it was clear that, he had this discussion with Carmelo, and then his brother stepped in. There's a squirrel, honey. She's going to go nuts. Oh yeah. Here we go. Oh, good. She didn't see it. Otherwise, you would have heard a dog screaming.
Like sitting down somewhere.
Then
doing this interview.
His brother steps in. Then they have words. And
all right, cool.
Then the bag is grabbed from Carmelo. So his possessions are grabbed without his consent.
Okay.
They get tossed aside.
She's shaking her head no.
As you see in the police report or even the mugshot, I'm sorry, because we did talk about this, me and Andrew, because when Andrew called me the next day, and he talked to his father. Of course, his father doesn't even know the details, and he can't. And Carmelo can't say the details over the phone, because when you're incarcerated and you're making, he calls me and says this and that. But then as we get to it, as I was called later, so then you clearly see in the mugshot his left eye. Well, that just didn't happen because someone might say he was crying. No, he got pushed, and the hand went off his chest, and it was wet, and caught him underneath his eye. Well, then
this is nonsense. Like, let's just say that this is Carmelo's defense.
All right.
Looks like he's been crying a little bit, but I am not seeing the right eye. Looks a little.
It's saying the point is, girl, he put his hands on him, which you cannot do. You cannot put your hands on somebody.
Warning. I call it an all-out warning. I probably have said it to myself, being a former hockey player. Do it again, man. But basically, he said, touch me and see what happens. Well,
kids being kids.
I don't know what to say that. So you got now, as in the first statement again, as I like to say always, the brothers said we, and each one of those brothers is 400 pounds, and I know Carmelo. I mean, he's not 150 pounds. There's no way that kid weighs 150 pounds.
Yeah, they have him listed at 162, and the brothers listed at 200.
Well, let's just say Carmelo was seriously outweighed.
Gotcha.
I mean, two guys
didn't even see it, so it wasn't like they were both coming at him at one time.
Yeah, they're literally saying they were both coming at him. You see what is wrong with black people, bro? The hell?
It's wet, it's slippery. You think of all kinds of things that can happen to you in a situation. In a lot of teenage incidents, I went to high school. When an incident happens, you're instantly surrounded. It's hard to move. I mean, it's hard to move.
It wouldn't have been for Carmelo, because he was literally. It would not have been hard for Carmelo to move because he was at.
All right, girl.
He was looking for a way out.
Before you continue, do you know if anything that was said by the brother to Carmelo?
It's a lot of hearsay because it's not a police report that I'm aware of. Okay. But from the father was, I'm gonna punch you in the face with the N-word. Mm-hmm. So,
so I'm gonna punch you in the face, N-word, I think.
That I'm sure will come to light in the next hearing. And I think that's, I know that's when Carmelo said, touch me and, find out what happens. The kid just, I told you yesterday, in our phone conversation, He was accepted to a well-known university. Of course, I hope people will understand I cannot give that out, but astro engineering, are you kidding me? That is one smart kid. And not that
Astro
he didn't do
engineering.
anything, found guilty, innocent, but you know, judges don't want to throw promising young people in jail. They don't, and I'm not giving anybody excuse. There should have been no loss of life.
Boom.
Absolutely none.
Right there. That is what he said. And I'm like, this guy is not helping. There should not have been any loss of life.
Right. So if the white boy stayed his ass where he was, then there wouldn't have been no problems now, wouldn't it? And if he didn't touch him again, after he said, touch me and see what happened, he had to see what happened. Or as I guess everybody is saying now, you're in the age of F around and find out. You understand? So anyway, we're gonna ignore this coon girl. It's unfortunate. But just to wrap it up, because we was talking about neighbors and stuff. Look at this young brother here, and just being aware of everything that we were saying today is being aware of your surroundings, right? Sometimes you need to be put in a situation to wake your hind pots up to realize what the hell is going on, because this is the same story over and over and over and over, right? So we need to start learning some lessons instead of repeating them over and over and over. So we were seeing how the neighbor threatened a young girl, but look at how this he put hands on his young brother or something like that. So
Want me to give you my apartment number? Are you security? This is insane.
some random white boy
You live
walking
here.
up on him.
Yourself in. So you gonna look me in the choke?
He's choking him.
Witness. I'm just trying to get you to buzz in to show me you live here.
You see this? He's
you
choking him.
That's cool. Why couldn't you have just done this downstairs? Here's my apartment. Here's my apartment.
Because it's my business, fool.
Yeah, cool. All right. Why couldn't you just do it downstairs? Are you like security? I asked you to?
Now, I don't know why his glasses ain't broke on his face when he sit there and put hands on him. Because if he missing part of his frontal lobe, then they're going to be really crying. But then we can run up his lawyer's fees, you know what I'm saying? His fight for justice. So he can get him a better place to live. So we can all get a better place to live. Maybe we should start putting our money, energy, intentions, efforts, mentality into the place where it needs to be.
Why should I show you proof that I live here? Why should I show you proof that I live here? Ask the office. There's really a problem. There's a problem that I can't.
Your office. Oh, you don't work here?
That's the maintenance. You put me in a chokehold. You put me in a chokehold, man. You're a thief, man. I'm a thief. You're not. I'm sorry. That came out. I didn't mean it.
Once again.
You see how crazy these fools are? You're a thief, man. Oh, damn, my bad. I forgot, my bad. Psychopaths, man. We need the education, not them. Anyway, you know what? I'm going to wrap it up here with the education that we need, right? The mentality. You ask me why the babies, they don't ask no questions about why the babies. So don't ask me no questions. We need to understand propaganda, how it works, how to use these platforms, how to use every platform. Like on here, off of here. Hell, they be in Call of Duty lobbies and stuff, planning they massacres and stuff like that. But we can get on here to talk about making sure we protect and build our own communities We can't have nobody else's back because we are all we got. We have no friends. We are definitely all we got. So, for my last words, this is gonna have to be my last words here.
They wrong for that now. That boy swimming his ass over there. God dang. That boy finna help that boy. Get up there, young boy. Get up there, young boy. Get up there, young boy. Shit, they tore his ass up. They tore his ass up. We got action, baby. He ain't finna do nothing. Arrest their ass. Oh, Lord. About that boat, baby. They ready to move out. They ready to move out. You ready to run? Yeah, 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 yeah. What's up? I was talking a minute ago. Yeah. Woo! 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 They scared. Look at them. They scared. Woo! Beat their ass. Woo! Oh my God. Woo! That what you get. That what you get. That what you get. Oh, tie ass up. Ooh, she whooping her ass. She finna put her in the water. In the water. In the water. Tie his ass up. Cause y'all were wrong. Uh-huh. 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 You some. Uh-huh. Boop. Ah. Boop. Ah. Boop. 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 Ah. Boop. Ah. Boop. Ah. Woo. He ran. He jumped in the water. Yeah. Yeah.
That was the beautiful part. It was cohesive. It was a unit. We all worked together. The women, the men, children, the elders. See, that's what we have to understand, man. We are all we got. And it doesn't matter what it is. Yo, we are black, you know? So, shouts out to Jerome Davis. You know, shouts out to Raw. I appreciate you listening, Raw. As always, you know the answer and what has to be the answer. To end this false reality and create the actual reality that we're used to. So as always, man, we have got to start standing for something. Oh yeah, shouts out to Matron in the building. Y'all go subscribe to her and listen to her live earlier. My brother Anthony was on there. Shouts out to everybody else who was listening. I appreciate everybody who will listen. We'll be back probably Wednesday with Cassidra, and we'll talk about, I don't know yet. But as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.